Hi, everybody. This is Saad for the Sad Truth. A few weeks ago, a student approached me and asked if he could speak to me in private, to which, of course, I agreed. The student went on to tell me that he knew of a friend who is a student at another university, and this other student in question was working on a group project. I hope I'm getting all the details correctly, but they're not really relevant to the story. He was working on a group project with some other gentlemen who apparently had some alarming content on his Facebook page, stuff that would be related to uh, terrorism and so on. And so he asked me, this is the student who approached me, asked me if it were possible to have this material sent to me, or at least the link to the Facebook pages in question sent to me, and if I then could share these with relevant contacts that I may have. And I said sure. And so I went to one of my contacts and asked him if he'd be able to share this information or decide if this information is problematic or not, and then share it if it is problematic with the appropriate authorities. The gentleman in question said absolutely he could share them with someone at CSIS, which is the, if you like, the security agency in Canada, and then also to the RCMP. And so everything was in place that we could follow up on this story in case this was a problematic situation. And this is exactly what you want people to do, to get engaged not only in the discussion of, the battle of ideas, but also if they see something that is problematic, to have the necessary courage to uh, alert the relevant authorities. Frankly, not that this requires so much courage to do, because in many instances you could share this information anonymously. In any case, about a week passed, I think it was a week, and then I saw the student in question again and asked him, well, I haven't received any information from you. And then he said to me, with some embarrassment for his friend, he said, well, the guy decided that he doesn't want to get involved. He's afraid to do so. He doesn't wish to have in any way an association with his reporting this information. And so he's decided against it. Of course, at that point, I was utterly bewildered, because the gentleman in question could share this information whilst being completely anonymous, right? There would literally be no way for me. In other words, when I receive, let's say, the links to the Facebook pages, I would never know who the individual is that shared this information. Never mind that if his identity were known, he should not be so afraid. I mean, think about all of the people who take great risks to speak openly and candidly about these important issues, and they don't hide behind the cowardly walls of anonymity, and certainly not in Canada or the United States. I mean, imagine what the atheist bloggers in Bangladesh, what kind of courage they must have to write the things that they do, not in Canada, but in Bangladesh or in Saudi Arabia. So, in the context of Canada, while of course there are always risks, many people take great personal and professional risks to speak openly, and yet this student did not feel sufficiently courageous to anonymously share information that would be relayed to me in a way that in no way could it ever be linked back to him. And so this was a level of cowardice that is frankly difficult to comprehend. And then apparently, maybe the student who approached me spoke to him. I then received the materials in question. So maybe he felt embarrassed and decided to do so. I still don't know what the anonymity, what the identity of the person who shared those links, what his identity is. But again, the point is that someone could feel so scared, so apathetic, so cowardly, that a random sharing, or not random, an anonymous sharing of information is considered to be too great a burden for him to engage in. This is precisely why dictators are able to maintain power, right? Because they can create an environment of such fear where everybody feels that, even within their own family, they can't speak openly. What if my children give me up? What if my neighbor gives me up? What if somehow they have a machine that can read my thoughts and then I will be found out to not be supportive of the dictatorial regime. And so this environment of fear starts becoming a reality that everybody then falls in line. Now, it's one thing to have uh, this mindset when you truly live under a dictatorship, but when you're in Canada or you're in the United States, again, not that there aren't threats, and believe me, I know of those threats, given how outspoken I am. But when you're in Canada and the US, I think it is the moral and right thing to do to, at the very least, not hesitate in sharing information that you never know. That information perhaps could be precisely the thing that saves the lives of many innocent people, right? So again, I always ask people to consider weighing in the battle of ideas and to get engaged. But here's another manifestation of how people need to get engaged and not be so tepid and so timid and uh, navigate in the world with such trepidation, because never mind the moral condemnation that of being a coward. There's a real actionable downstream effect of cowardice, and that is that people's lives might be damaged irrevocably, if not ended, because you decided not to speak out because you don't want to get involved and you don't want the information that you shared to be in any way linked back to you. This is the height of cowardice, and hence this is why I chose the image that you see in front of you as the cowardly lion, uh, in honor of what I call the eighth deadly sin, cowardice. So roll up your sleeves, get engaged in the battle of ideas, always try to do the right thing, and hopefully we can continue to defend all of the liberties and freedoms that most people take for granted without realizing that without defending those freedoms, they could easily be usurped from under our feet. I hope you're having a good Sunday. Talk to you soon. Ciao.